And it was also good for the series too, because then it gave them a starting point for the next phase, you know, which is to figure out what the hell is going on behind the scenes. And it's very hard. It's hard to kill a main character. As I know, as a creator, it's hard for me to think of that. And you've ever heard of a book called ElfQuest? Mm-hmm. ElfQuest is a book produced by Wendy Pini. I started reading when I was 14 years old. Later, I met Wendy and began to work for her. I actually drew 2 58-page stories of ElfQuest for her. And she had told me once that one of the main characters, Skywise, she planned to kill him off early in the series. Yeah. She was going to kill him off. And then Richard, her husband, stepped in, because that was his favorite character, and said, "You can't kill Skywise! He's my favorite character!" And she goes, "Well, I think it's important to the plot." And he goes, "No, you can't do it. There'll be an outcry." So she didn't. She decided to keep him. And luckily she didn't, because the relationship between Cutter, who's the main character, and Skywise is very central to the plot of ElfQuest, you know. And that sort of cohesiveness happened later, you know. So had she killed him, that would have been a different center, right? But she didn't. But at the same time, it made me think about that, because here's the creator of the series who was going to kill it. She planned on it. It's like God saying, "You're dead." But he saved the last minute by somebody else. So we're really looking at the story of a dead man, who's a ghost character. And if you kind of look at him, he is a little bit ethereal compared to the other elves. Yes?
I'm just curious, since we're talking about how hard it is to kill characters, does that really apply to Dragon Ball Z, where they kind of die off like multiple times per season? Or is it a different kind of dying?
Well, that's different. I remember when Krillin first died, I got depressed, because it was the only character I had at that point, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I was having so much fun, he died. And then Chris Sabat, at the time, was assistant directing. He later became the main director. He goes, "Don't worry about it. He comes back." I went, "See, Ghost?" He goes like, "No, they all come back." Yeah. They die, they wish him back.
They die again.
Die again.
Wish him back again.
Krillin died 4 times throughout Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball ZT. After a while, I just got sick of him dying. Just, who cares? He'll be back. And he was back at the end. The end of GT, he was sparring with little Goku, you know, so as an old man. Yeah?
What's your opinion on the Dragon Ball Z plots in the movies not kind of syncing up? There's no Krillin.
Yeah, I hate that. We're talking about the live action movie, right? But he's talking about that anime, right? Yeah. The live action movie does not have a Krillin.
No, it got totally cut, and Chan's cut, and Chaozu's cut.
I can understand Chan making Chaozu in Tien. But how do you cut Krillin? I mean, to do that means you don't understand where Dragon Ball Z came from. Dragon Ball Z is based on the Way West. It's the Monkey King legend. Do you guys know about that?
Yeah.
And in the Monkey King legend, you have, you know, the Monkey King, you've got the pig character, you've got the monk, which is Krillin. These are essential characters to this plot that Akira Toriyama based the series on. How can you take that out? I would be amazed if it's a good movie. You know, just by that.
Sabat said that either way we've got it good, because if it's a good movie, that's awesome. If it's a bad movie, we can make fun of it.
That's true. And the anime looks that much better by comparison. Was there more to that question? Oh yes, movies. The movies, I don't quite understand it, and maybe it's a Japanese thing, you know, that they like to come up with alternate plots. I know, like DC Comics and Marvel like to do these Elseworld books, you know, where it's like a different type of universe where it's similar, but they want to tell a story that doesn't go along with the storyline, so they do that. So maybe that's the Japanese equivalent to the Elseworld things. Yes?
Participate from the big thing, if that's okay with you?
No. We're having a lecture here. Oh, go ahead.
Off to the side.
You have to say with a better accent.
Off to the side.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, just don't mind me. Right. See? Come on, everyone. Join in.
Thank you so much. So, any other questions? Yes?
That
someone who watches and can fly.
Yeah, I always thought that Krillin should have did what Gohan did. You know, the Saiyaman, the great Saiyaman, you know, put on a superhero costume, leave all the Z fighters, take on some city, be that city's superhero, because he would be the king of the city, you know? Instead, he hangs out with these aliens who outclass him by a long ways, so he looks infinitesimal compared to them. But he really is the strongest human being ever. That must suck! To be the strongest, most powerful human being on the planet and still have an inferiority complex. What do you gotta do? And so, no matter what he does, he can never catch up. His wife is a robot. There's so many problems here. Exactly, Andrew.
She was human turned into.
Basically, she's a sophisticated blow-up doll. And well, it's actually sophisticated because she can have children. And a pain too. She's really mean to him. You'll be sorry when I die for the 4th time. And she is the 4th time. Yeah. It doesn't bother me at all. I like playing characters who have it bad because it gives you more to work with. If you're just all the time, as an actor, it's boring. As somebody who's watching the film, you're like, cool, you know, it's like he's kicking ass, man. I like to watch him kick ass. Meanwhile, Krillin gets to get really scared. He gets to have pathos. He gets to fall in love. He gets to worry about himself and worry if he's going to do this. And he gets to produce true bravery, which comes from not being fearless. True bravery comes from being afraid and doing it anyway, because you have to. So I like characters like that. I think there's a certain nobility in them. Usopp is the same way. Scared shitless about everything. But he's there, you know, most of the time. We just did an episode where he ties up one of the main characters because the main character wants to fight. He doesn't. So he ties him up and leaves. Better part of valor. Yes?
Just wondering about One Piece. With the Sanji and the cigarette.
Yeah. No, we kept it. I don't know if we kept it for the Cartoon Network version, but it's not on Cartoon Network anymore. Because Cartoon Network is trying to weed out anime. They're keeping some for their Adult Swim stuff, but they really want to just produce more standard cartoons their own way. So we're looking for another network actually to put One Piece on. Yeah, somewhere. What? YTV? I don't know. It should. Why not? I don't know. You know what? Surprised it isn't on YTV.
YTV had the other One Piece, the piece of crap.
See, that was part of the problem too, because Cartoon Network had the other piece of crap, as you say. I wouldn't say that. I won't go on record saying that. But they were a little tainted by it. So even though we turned it around and got the audience behind it, and people loved it, and people writing in, at that point they kind of lost the momentum. So we're looking for another place to put it on. And of course we'll keep doing the DVDs on it too, because it sells automatically. Yeah?
I was just wondering, I heard the guy who did Don Craig died, when he was doing the...
Did what?
The voice actor for Don Craig in One Piece in the video game.
Oh.
I heard he passed away or something.
I didn't hear that.
Andy Bourne.
Did not know. I haven't heard that. Find out. Any other questions? Yes.
Have you done any relay?
Have you done what?
Relay animation?
Toonami Tom was. And it was awesome because it was easy for everybody because he didn't have any mouth. Oh, not with Funimation. We don't agree. We're talking about it, maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, getting into doing our own animation.
Well, even actual animation studio.
Yeah, turning it. But that's way down the line, But eventually, I think it might actually need to be done because who knows what direction the anime industry will go.